Hello everyone. Today I am going to discuss leadership, which is the next element of directing. First element of directing was motivation. Why I am saying motivation? First element is supervision, but that is not in the course. So the first element we have discussed of directing is motivation, which I have already done in my previous video. And in this video I am going to discuss the next element of directing, that is leadership. Okay, now what is leadership? What do we mean by leadership? So leadership is the process of influencing the behavior of people. What leadership, in leadership, what the leader is doing, he is trying to influence the behavior of people. That means there is no control. He is not trying to control the behavior. Okay, he is trying to influence the behavior of people. So that means willingness of the employee, of the subordinate will be there. Okay, there will be willingness. They will cooperate with the leader with their consent. Okay, there is no force, there is no control, there is no power applied here. So there is influencing the behavior of people, and since this is the relationship between leader and the follower, so this is interpersonal also. This is interpersonal. So, and for what this has been done? This is done for achieving the organizational goal or some specified goal, or some common objective is there, some common goal is there. So for achieving that common objective, that common goal, the behavior of the subordinates, the follower, is influenced by the leader. Okay, and it is a continuous process. Like leader always has to influence the behavior of the people. Okay, so this is all about leadership. Now the next topic is leadership style. Now before discussing the types of leadership style, I'll discuss what is the meaning of leadership style. It means the behavioral pattern of the behavior of the leader. Now it depends on the personality of the leader, then the philosophy he is having, his experience, and the value system. Okay, so these are the behavior of the leader depends on all these things, and it depends upon the followers also. What kind of followers are there? It depends. The leadership style followed, or the leadership style which the leader is having, it depends upon the follower, the type of follower he is having, and the organizational climate also. Okay, so leadership style, there are three leadership style: autocratic, democratic, and free rein. So we'll start with the first one, that is autocratic. So this is the first leadership style. This is also known as boss-centered. Why it is boss-centered? Because in this leadership style, centralization is there. That means all the powers are centralized in the leader. Means he is taking all the decision, he is having the full control, he is taking all the decision, and he is not allowing the subordinates to participate in decision-making process. Okay, so the leader is giving orders and instructions to the subordinate, and he expects the subordinate to follow all his instructions unquestioningly. Okay, that means whatever instruction he is giving, the subordinates has to follow it. And then one more thing is there, he never delegates his work to the subordinate. He is doing all by himself. So that is why I am saying it is boss-centered, it is centralized. Okay, now one more thing I have to add here, that the leader gives reward to the subordinate if his instructions are followed. Okay, and he penalizes also. That means if the subordinates are following the instruction, he will give reward, and if it is not followed, he will punish, he will penalize the subordinate also. So one example of autocratic leadership style is Hitler. Okay, Hitler, he never allowed his cabinet to participate in the decision-making process. He was taking all the decisions, and the people, the followers, has to accept his orders, and they have to follow whatever he was saying. And he was very strict in this. He gave punishments also. So he is an example of autocratic leadership style. Now, you may think that why this, or where this type of leadership style is actually required. See, where the subordinates are having less knowledge, they are unskilled, or they are not experienced enough, then this autocratic leadership style is best there. Why? Because since they are not having the knowledge of the work, they are not experienced that much. So the leader will give all the instructions and they will just follow the instruction of the leader. So whenever you'll get case study, see, definitely you'll get case study from this part. You have to identify which leadership style is followed by the manager, and the question may be that you have to suggest which leadership style is best suited in that particular area. So where the subordinates are less knowledgeable, less educated and unskilled, then this leadership style is very good. Okay, that is suitable in that particular situation. Now coming to the advantages. Now quick decision making. Yes, that will be there because the leader is not consulting with anyone and he is taking all the decision by himself. So the decision will be very fast, very quick. And since he is taking all the decision, the second point is it provides motivation and satisfaction to the leader. He will be satisfied, he will be always motivated because he is taking all the decision and others are following his decision. So it provides motivation and satisfaction to the leader. Next comes less competent subordinates. Yes, the subordinates are not competent enough, so that is why the leader is giving all the instructions, and it may bring positive result when speed is required. This is related to the first one, that is quick decision making. When you want prompt action to be taken, you will go for this autocratic leadership style. Okay, now the disadvantage of this is it leads to frustration and low morale of the employees. Obviously, if the subordinates, they are not involved in the decision making process, they are just given the instructions and order, it will lead to frustration and low morale, and then there will be low initiative. Okay, and then their creativity and potential, maybe they are having some creativity, some innovation, but that will not be utilized. So there will be no development of subordinate. So all the disadvantage of this leadership style is related with the subordinates. Okay. Now one more thing, when you will make the figure of this, see, this is the leader and the arrow will always be like this. That means subordinate, subordinate, subordinates. That means only this way orders and instructions are following, and he is not entertaining their opinion, their suggestions. So arrow will be always like this. Okay. So with this, we complete the first leadership style, that is autocratic leadership style. The second leadership style is democratic leadership style. Now this is also called participative. Now as the name suggests, participative means the leader, he takes all the decision by consulting. Okay, by consulting the subordinates. That means there is participation in decision making process. The leader delegates his work also. He delegates his work to the subordinates, and there is decentralization. That means powers are given to the subordinates also. As compared to autocratic, like in autocratic we have seen that the power is centralized, here power is decentralized. Okay, that means he is sharing his job, his work and his responsibility, his authority with the subordinates, and they are, the leader is taking decision in consultation with the subordinates. That means this is called group centered. This is also known as group centered. Why? Because in group they are taking all the decision, in group they are working. Okay, one more thing, that in this leadership style, the leader is giving orders and instructions and he is listening to the suggestions, the opinion of the subordinate also. He is listening to their grievances also. Okay, so when we'll draw the figure, this is leader, these are the subordinates, and the arrow will be both ways. Okay, means orders and instructions coming down to the subordinates, and from subordinate the opinion, the grievances, the suggestions, it is going to the leader also. So arrow will be both ways. Okay. Now this is democratic leadership style or participative leadership style. Now the example of this particular leadership style, you can give any, if in a company the CEO is always allowing the subordinates to participate in the decision making process, then that there is democratic leadership style. Now coming to the advantages and disadvantages. The first advantage is it improves the job satisfaction and morale of the employees. Okay, it is very clear that when suppose in your school or in your college also, if you are consulted before taking decision regarding the school timings or your class duration or the number of classes a particular subject should have, then you'll feel like, okay, I'm so important, or my opinion, my suggestions are taken care of, they are listening to us. So this will improve your satisfaction and your morale will go up. Then it improves the decision making ability of the subordinates. Okay, and then it develops a positive attitude. If the subordinates in any organization, if he is allowed to participate in decision making, there will be positive attitude, and if there is positive attitude, there will be less labor turnover. Labor turnover means the number of employees leaving an organization. So they will not leave the organization, they will feel the feeling of belongingness will come. So the labor turnover will reduce and absenteeism will also reduce. Okay, and this will lead to quality decision making. That is, the quality of the decisions will improve if you are involving the followers or the subordinates also. Now there are some demerits also of this particular leadership style. First is time consuming. Means delay in decision making. Delay in decision making. Why? Because you are consulting everyone in the group. So it will take time to come up with the decision. The leader may pass the work and abdicate responsibility. This also happens sometimes, that the leader is giving all the work to the subordinate and he is abdicating his responsibility also. Now third one is leader may be considered as incompetent. Okay. Now people may feel why the leader is always giving all the work to the subordinates. Maybe he is not able to do the work. So that is why he is delegating his work to the subordinate. So in this leadership style, the leader sometimes is considered as incompetent, not having the required knowledge. So the third leadership style is free rein. So free rein or laissez-faire leadership style. Now free rein means letting this in this leadership style, the subordinates are free to take all the decisions. Okay, and laissez-faire means let it be. That means here the leader he avoids the power. Okay, and he delegates all his authority to the subordinates. All the decisions are taken by the subordinates, and the leader here just provides, he's just providing the information required and the resources required for doing the particular job. So when the figure will be drawn here, it will be like this. The leader is standing here and these are the subordinates and they are interacting with each other. Okay, they are interacting with each other, and see, the leader is standing here. What he is doing is he is just providing the information, giving the resources, and he is not interfering in the job. So this is free rein or laissez-faire leadership style. Okay, now I'll give you an example. Now suppose the boss has asked the subordinate to organize a farewell party for a retiring officer, and he has just said that you have to organize a farewell party for the retiring officer, and all the work related to that party is done by the subordinates. That means the subordinate will fix the venue, they fix the venue and all. So this is the example of free rein or laissez-faire leadership style. Now coming to the advantages of this. The first advantage is job satisfaction and morale of the subordinate. Same as we have seen in that democratic leadership style. Second, the maximum scope for development of subordinates, since the subordinates are taking all the decision. They are doing all the work. So there is scope for their development. And full utilization of capacity and potential of employees. That means employees, they can utilize their capacity here because all the because they are performing the work. Okay, they are taking all the decisions. So these are the advantages. And coming next to the disadvantage of this leadership, no guidance and support of the leader. Okay, the leader here is not giving any guidance. He is not supporting the subordinates at all, and the subordinate may work in different direction and result in chaos. Means, see, there are subordinates who are working and they may have different attitude, they may want to do the work in different styles, so there may be chaos. It results in chaos. And last one, it ignores the contribution of leader. Okay, now suppose the leader is giving some guidance on this, but this leadership style, it ignores the contribution of leader. So these are the three leadership style which we have to do in leadership. That is the second element of directing, and only this much we have to do. And definitely from this part you will get case studies, you can get direct questions also. So do it very nicely, and in the next video I'll come up with the next element, that is communication.